Welcome back under the lights at Memphis Motorsports Park. This is the first night race ever at Memphis Motorsports Park, and it is the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Enjoying it. David Reutimann out in front of Todd Cleaver.
Todd being able to stay within a couple truck lengths of David Reutimann. Hey, that team has really turned around. They switched crew chiefs within the Roush organization. Mike Beam came over to the 50 truck of Todd Cleaver. John Monson went over to the 99 of Ricky Craven. It really seemed to pay immediate dividends for the 50 of Todd Cleaver. He went first time out, finished second at Kansas and with a great run. Had a good run going last week, ended up losing a couple positions on a green-white checker finish. Ended up in a 12th position, but had a great truck around the top 5 for a lot of the race.
Good side-by-side battle here. Ricky Craven on the outside of Jimmy Spencer, two veterans in the NASCAR world.
I talked to John Monson, who had worked with Ricky Craven before in the Busch Series back a number of years ago, and I said, "How's it going?" He said, "It's really going good." We kind of had to get reacquainted because they've been apart for so long, but he said, "I really think things are really going to turn around, and it looks like they have a pretty good truck going." It made a lot of adjustments, had a little bit of damage on one of those earlier caution flags, but he's passing some good trucks right now and working his way up into the top 20.
Ricky Craven being shown in 19th position right now. Rick Crawford back in 20th. There's Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave. 1 and 2 in the points right now. Setzer trying to increase his lead in the point standings as Ted Musgrave's trying to close that gap a little bit.
Remember, Ted's one of the trucks that pitted back on lap number 34. He put tires on lap number 34. Look at all these trucks side by side. There's Jack Sprague, the 16 truck on the inside. Ty Bodine, the 30 right behind him as they work their way back.
Chase Montgomery.
And then Jack Sprague decides to jump on the outside of Jimmy Spencer in the 2 truck.
Side by side racing. We saw a spark out of the underneath the 19 there, that bump.
Bad bump back there. You see the glowing brake rotors on the 16 truck of Jack Sprague. Use a lot of brakes entering the corners at both ends. Entering number 1 and entering number 3. See Chase Montgomery, the 18, look to the inside of Jimmy Spencer in the 2 truck.
Hey, Ray, are they having problems with that 16 in the brakes?
Well, he's just really tight is his biggest problem, Rick, and they don't know for sure why it's so bad because he was really good in practice today. Sprague thought for sure he was going to have a shot at the pole here. He's driving a chassis they call number 39, and he's had 2 second-place finishes with it this year, and he won with that same truck at Mansfield last year. So on a short track, they're always really good with truck number 39, and Sprague just can't quite figure out why they're so tight. They're going to work on it here the next pit stop, but he's very surprised to be back in 25th.
You see that brake rotor glowing, and when your truck is tight like his is, he's going to use a little bit more brake to try to keep that truck from sliding up the racetrack in the center of the corner. He needs to save a little bit of brakes if he can. Right now he's running pretty much by himself. He's got some traffic. He's got Ricky Craven a couple truck lengths in front of him, but he doesn't want to use those brakes up.
And that usually compounds the problem too, because using the brakes builds more heat and builds more air pressure in the front.
Here's the front. That's David Reutimann looking back at Todd Cleaver, and it looks as though Todd Cleaver has decided, I'd like a taste of the top spot, and maybe I'll take it away from you, David.
Remember, these 2 trucks right here, along with that 3rd-place truck of Dennis Setzer, have not pitted in this race. We're 92 laps into this thing. They've got maybe 20, 30 more laps of fuel in these trucks, and then they will have to be on pit road. So they're hoping for a caution flag anytime now because they're in their window. They all could make it on one more pit stop. So they would love to see a caution flag right now, and David Reutimann has got a miracle of Todd Cleaver.
Well, it looked as though Todd Cleaver was going to move David Reutimann out of the way there. He's coming into the corners a little bit harder than David is, and he got almost on the inside of David that last time through, and now we see Dennis Setzer getting into the mix.
Well, I like that move Dennis Setzer just made. He was able to keep his truck a little bit lower than Todd Cleaver. He didn't have to use quite as much of the racetrack as Todd Cleaver. He wasn't able to make the pass, but if he keep that little tight line coming off the corner, not have to use that entire racetrack, then that could bode well for him later on.
And we see in 4th the 1 of Ted Musgrave, and so our top 4 is just extremely tight. You could throw a blanket over the 4 trucks right now that are up front. David Reutimann has a mirror full, as you said, of Todd Cleaver. Wendy, how's he doing up front?
He is doing pretty well. He has no forward fight, he says, but what's interesting about David Reutimann, the last 2 races, at Kansas he finished 3rd, and Kentucky he finished 3rd, and at both of those tracks he had never led. Now he led at Kansas, he led at Kentucky. We came here to Memphis, guess what? He had never led here at Memphis until tonight, so David Reutimann has definitely been on the roll of leading laps and finishing up front. Fortunately, hopefully that will happen again tonight, Ray.
Hey, Wendy, I did some digging through the statistics here to try to find out which has performed the very best here at Memphis. And guess what? It's that truck right there. The 50 team has an average finish of 8.85 here. They've been the very best team overall. Remember, Greg Biffle won here and finished second. John Wood had a couple of good top 10s here in the last few races. The 50, the very best team. Now, the guy that's right behind this group, the number 46, the driver, has the best average finish of drivers. But when it comes to teams, it was all about the 50.
Well, the one thing David Rudiman wants right now is a caution. I think he's used up his tires, and he definitely wants to pit now.
Yeah, there's Dennis Setzer. As Ray mentioned, he's been here 6 times, Boris. He's never finished out of the top 5. 5th is his worst finish. His average finish here is 3.5, and he gets a little bit sideways coming off turn number 2.
I tell you what, Ray Dunlap is on his stats. I was ready to jump on him as far as he was talking about how that team was the best finish and everything, and he jumped right in with the Dennis Setzer stat. Very impressive performances for Dennis Setzer at this track. We'll see if he's able to hold on to that impressive average finish, if he can get by the man who's up front.